Okay, we are back in our same topology. Remember, in our previous lecture, we were able to ping from VLAN 1 to VLAN 1, but we were not able to ping from VLAN 2 to VLAN 2 because these or this link was not trunked. All right, so let's verify that again. Always remember, trust but verify. All right, you gotta always verify, especially in Cisco exams. You must verify what you're doing. So here we saw it from last time. We'll just do an up arrow, and we can ping. Right, we can now the ARP cache is there, so no problem there. Let's ping the other way around: 192.168.1.1, and we can ping. Let me make this a little bit bigger. I hate seeing it like that. So we have connectivity between VLAN 1. That's obvious. No big deal. All right. And this one is 2. Wow, that was pretty big there. Ping 192.168. Well, let's do the IP config. Let's take a look at our IP address so we know what we're working with. Just in case we don't remember from one lecture to the next, like I do. I don't. Ping 192.168.2.2. And we're not going to be able to because, as we said previously, we are not trunked. And this is the focus of this particular lecture. Trunking, right? Now, as we all know, and again, this is not going to be a huge lecture, but we need to understand that ports need to be trunked. So let's take a look at that port. Now, what I showed you last time was show int trunk, and there was nothing trunked. But you can also look at show interface F021, which is the link between the switch, because you got 21 on switch 1. Right, we got 21 on switch 1 and 22 on switch 2. So show interface F021 space switch port. There's another command. All right, and you can see that the administrative mode is dynamic auto. And that is the administrative mode of all switches. By default, the ports are set to dynamic auto. That's why when we assigned the VLANs, we put them in access mode. We deliberately, intentionally put it, hey, this is going to be an access port. That's it. It's not going to be a trunk port. It's not going to negotiate any kind of trunking. It is an access port, period. So we statically did that. But if you look at the administrative mode of this port, it is dynamic auto. So what are we going to do? And what a dynamic auto means is that if I turn this into a trunk port, then the link or the port that's connected to this one will automatically be then a trunk port. It will negotiate it. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Config T, interface F0/21. Let's put it into trunking mode. Switch, if I can spell it correctly, switch port mode trunk. Boom, done. And you see that you get an up state. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's do a Control Z, and we do a WR just to write everything. You can do obviously copy run start. I like doing the WR. In the certification, you can. All right, so let's do the same command. Let's up arrow, and here we are. Our command show interface F021 switch port. All right, we're gonna hit enter. Now look at the administrative mode, trunk. Look at the operational mode, trunk. Before this said static access, so now it is a trunk port. Let's take a look at its neighbor, and you can see that the trunking negotiation obviously is .1Q. There's no longer ISL. Some people still talk about, well, my layer 3 switch will use ISL. Well, you know what? ISL is no longer used. You shouldn't use it. It has its limitations. Again, look at the CCNA course. You'll find out why. All right. So we go to, and look, oh, look what we have here. Change state to up. Interesting, interesting. So let's take a look at show int trunk. Let's take a look at the short command. And we have our port 22 that it's now trunking. Interesting. Let's do our longer command. Show interface F0/22 switch port. And we see that it's dynamic auto, but it's trunking, not access. It's trunking. It's dynamic auto, so it negotiated the trunking port. So now we truly have a trunk link between each other. The ports are now trunked. Therefore, it can carry other VLAN information across, not just VLAN or native VLAN information. All right. So let's try and ping again with this PC. and we'll just do an up arrow, ping 2222, and now we can ping, right? Because of the trunking, and that's the whole point of trunking, okay? That we're able to pass other VLAN information than the native VLAN. All right, and of course, I mean, I'm doing this just for, I guess, redundancy or what have you. 192.168.2.1, and I can ping, and just to show you my config to make sure I'm in the right PC. This is a 2.2. So we do have connectivity. So the answer, if you get something like this in a situation where you're troubleshooting and you're finding out, hey, why can VLAN 1 ping to each other, but VLAN 2 can't? One of the first things you want to look at, it's obviously, I mean, people talk about cables, whatever, but if VLAN 1 obviously can ping to each other, there is nothing wrong with the cable. All right, so you want to go into the configurations, make sure when you're dealing with VLANs that the trunk ports are on. That's one of the first things you want to look at. All right, and this was the case here. You have two commands: show int trunk or show interface, the interface that we want to look at. Like in this case, we looked at F021, and then switch port, and that will give you information if it's the administrative mode, or it tells you that dynamic auto, or it's actually trunk port. Okay. All right, and let me show you the command one more time because I want to make sure you get this. All right, so it's show interface F021 switch port. And you can see now the administrative mode trunk, operational mode trunk. So we deliberately turned this into a trunk port, where the other one we left it alone at what? Dynamic auto. All right, so we would negotiate. Okay, well, you turn into a trunk, so I'm a trunk. That's what's going on there. All right, and you can see here the operational mode is trunk, and yes, it's .1Q. That's it. So now we have connectivity. Now we have connectivity across both. Now, VLAN 2 can ping VLAN 2. Okay, but VLAN 1 can ping VLAN 2 because we don't have intra-VLAN connectivity yet, but we'll get that a little later on. All right, what we're going to get into in our next lecture, though, is spanning tree. Here we go. So be ready for that one. See you in the next lecture.